Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the next episode of StreamTime Sports. My name is Chris Stone. I'm the community lead, joined as always by our CEO, Nick Meacham. Now, Nick, it's a lovely, beautiful, sunny Friday. It's got my energy up. We also have a new pope, and your fun fact of the day, Nick, is the last two times that a new pope was elected, in 2013 and 2015, the Cincinnati Bengals went on to win the AFC North that year. So causation, correlation, I don't know, but
Wow.
I'm always looking for hope. So it's not about re-signing Jamar and T. Higgins. It's about having a new pope that the Bengals are going to be making it back to the playoffs this year, Nick.
Something to look forward to. I love whenever I hear those stats always that are completely random because they normally get shut down pretty quickly after you hear them. So someone's finally found that stat and then it quickly won't come true. Hopefully for your benefit, it will. But I think I heard something similar for when a pope has died, Arsenal seem to always win, make somewhere in the Champions League. They make. I don't know. Maybe they get to the final. I don't know. I don't follow Arsenal very closely, and I think they lost on to PSG. So I think that whatever that stat was is basically already out the door. So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, the funny thing is, the Bengals beat writer that wrote that stat, someone immediately wrote under it. In those same 2 years, the Seattle Seahawks also made the Super Bowl that year. So.
Wow.
There's a couple of those stats that are all kind of going sideways with new popes and what it means for the success of their NFL franchises.
Well, what do you think the Seahawks betting odds are?
I bet it's going to give you a good return on investment at this stage.
It must be like 100 plus to 1. Don't tell me the stats in. What's plus 6,000? Is that 6,000 to 1 or 600 to 1?
So one of the things I've learned, Nick,
work?
One of the things I've learned, I've not learned well, is apparently English odds and American odds are like backwards in terms of the way they like phrase like what the payout is. Because one of my mates works in betting, and he was like, "Yeah, Americans do it this way, and the British markets do it this way. They all mean the same, but they list. It's almost like the way Americas go month, day, year, and the British go day, month, year. Like it's all the same, but it's also a little bit different."
Fun fact: do you know which country does year first?
I'm going to go, this is just a weird one because I know South Koreans do birthdays differently. They do it by like conception as opposed to actual birth date. So I'm going to go with to South Korea. Are they the ones that do year first?
Well, I actually realized the way I worded that, it sounded like there was only one country in the world. There could be several, but one country that definitely does do it is Sweden. A lot of the stuff here is with the year first, which has really thrown me out of whack, and the day is actually last. So, yeah, I think that's right. So, that's really thrown me out of whack. I now see in one day I might see the American, the UK, and the Swedish version. So it's not that difficult to get to grips with. I'm educated enough to handle that, but it just can throw you off track every now and again if you start seeing all these random numbers all over the place.
Man, all these peculiarities. I mean, Nick, I still struggle sometimes going back and forth between an English keyboard and an American keyboard because my personal laptop is an American keyboard, and I'm back and forth on that.
I'm yo-yoing between, so I found the shortcut now. So I use a Swedish keyboard a bunch as well, and you use the window and the space bar, and it shortcuts to the next one, which you need to. There's a lot of keys different, which it takes a bit of getting used to because the keyboard I'm using doesn't have any of them marked on it, so you just got to learn without. That takes a lot of learning for my weary old brain. But fun fact: so if something is 6,000 plus 6,000, which is what the Seahawks are, how much do you think that is? How much do you think you'd win, or how would you measure that to the UK betting style?
I feel like my friend would say it's like 600 to 1. Maybe I'm making that up.
You bet 100 to get 6,000. So you got to divide. Is that 60 to 1?
Yeah, maybe.
That's 60 to 1?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I've never been great at math, Nick.
No, I heard people talking like minus 1,000, all this other stuff, and I get so lost. But apologies for taking everyone down a rabbit hole. But so 6,000 divided by 100 is just 60. I mean, they should be worth way more than 60 to 1. Gosh,
I mean, they're not even the favorites.
You wouldn't take my money with that.
Yeah, they're not even favorites in their own division.
Yeah, I mean, I remember once I randomly started following. So when I was in my early teens, one of my friends got me into fantasy football, NFL football, and I somehow, and I can't really remember how it happened, I started following the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, sorry everyone who's not interested in the NFL, but this is, I think, an interesting example of like how weird fandom things can work. For some reason, I started getting into them. Maybe they had a good year as a sporting team. I can't remember the year before. And so no, it wasn't 13. I was actually an adult then. But I started following at 13. But this happened around 18. I just randomly started following. So I started reading all their forums, fan forums, which are still hugely popular and are way too under talked about. You look at Reddit and other personalized fan forums. One of the videos for context, for an example, we published on Wrexham. There was an interview I did on stage with Wrexham FC's leadership. That's up to nearly 200,000 views, and that is off the back of it being promoted through a lot of the fan forums for Wrexham Football Club. Anyway, I started following the Tampa Bay Buccaneers mainly through these forums, and I have no idea why. I barely even watched a game or two of that year, and they were like 125 to 1, and I put $20 on it, and they ended up winning that year. That was the year they won the Super Bowl back in the SAP days. SAP Barber and
Tiki. There's Tiki Barber. Brooks was the middle linebacker.
Rondé Barber, the cornerback.
Sorry, I got the two brothers mixed up. How could I do such a thing?
And Derek, the linebacker, is like
Derek Brooks.
Hall of Fame.
Was Mike Allstott on that team?
Mike Allstott was definitely on that team. Warwick Dunn. Those were the years.
Drop, yeah.
Those were the years. Gosh. Nostalgia. We've now lost 85% of our audience, Chris, in a matter of minutes, listening to us go deep onto betting and the NFL. But hey, ride the wave, people. Keep with us. It's worth it.
No, people love it. People love it. You know, they appreciate the banter. And, you know, one of the things we're going to talk a bit about today, Nick, is more around the AI side of things. And one thing I will say, Nick, before causation, correlation, again, I don't know. But all of a sudden, YouTube has finally started serving me Cincinnati Reds highlights from the official MLB channel. It's not from the Reds channel. So
is it listening? Maybe it's listening to us. Maybe the algorithm doesn't work, but it's listening to us. It's like, this guy wants more of the Reds, so we're going to give it to him.
Maybe it was the positive marks we gave to Rob Pilgrim last week. He went in the back end of the system to fix it for me. But
put a little extra tick.
The AI is finally catching on. It took 3 seasons, but we're there. It's finally on, the top line of recommended videos when I wake up. So we're getting there, Nick. AI is slowly getting there.
I'm glad to hear, because it is the one thing. I think I have talked about this before. The one thing that still really gets me is these algorithms. I know how they're built, but just serve me more new stuff. You stop giving me the same stuff. I just keep watching the same things on loop again and again, and it's really sad. And then I start questioning my life choices a little bit too, and why I'm looking at the same video done by the same creator again, and then I now step away and ask myself some heavy questions. But glad to hear you getting some more of the stuff that you want. Those algorithms obviously are only getting better and better, and I don't even know how AI powered they are versus just using machine learning based stuff. But whatever, it's impressive stuff nonetheless.
Yeah. Well, with AI, last week we did a bit of a wrap up of our Sports Pro event, and we talked about some of the key things we took away. One thing we didn't talk about though was necessarily AI, and it's a bit of a time to do a shameless plug as we have our second Sports Pro AI event, which will be taking place in September in London. Please go to ai.sportspro.com if you want to find more information on that, potentially look at booking a ticket early or partnering with the event. Huge success as a launch event last year. We had almost kind of a second rendition of it with Sports Pro AI USA. That was a joint event with our Sports Pro New York event. So very excited about that. And it's still a topic that is continuing to grow. And it was something that came up, across the Sports Pro Live event that we had the week before. I thought one of the interesting things for me, Nick, is I run an exec forum at most of our events, kind of invite only 15, 20 people. And we were talking digital playbooks, how to make content. What are some of the bottlenecks that you have, things like that. And AI got brought up, and fairly or unfairly, WSC are pretty synonymous with AI at this point in highlights. So they got raised. And even in the executive forum I was at, they were talking about AI in the sense of WSC is great. They can create highlights, but AI still, there's a gap there about actually connecting with fans. Like, it's great at identifying highlights, but it's not really good for creating copy or necessarily, getting that human emotion correct. And that was sort of the sentiment as people were talking about AI is it has a place, but there's still shortcomings that it needs that human intervention to really connect the content with people.
Well, you know what? Thank God there's still some shortcomings, because otherwise we'd all be screwed, basically. But yeah, I mean, look, where it was, though, to a couple of years ago to where we are now is just an insane pace of change for the industry. And yeah, look, AI is the great enabler, I would call it. AI is not necessarily the ultimate solution for everything, but it's definitely the great enabler, particularly as it relates to sports, to be able to create more stuff that people want, rather than, with people's time. There's such a finite amount of it we have, that without these tools, it's a very inefficient journey and process to create this stuff. But AI is certainly helping some of that, and we're trying to get more and more raise our expertise and use and adoption internally at our business, because we're a content media business, just like pretty much everyone is now in the sports industry. And I think that's the reality of where we sit today. So AI, as it relates to content production, measurements, monetization, being able to like find those opportunities. When I say monetization, because even the term monetization can be thrown around a lot, but the ability to find, hey, here's an area, here's a product, here's an area that we an audience set that we should be going after and super serving, is just that we're only at the starting point of that journey of really allowing all these tools to just absolutely run and make us even more successful at connecting with these passionate fan bases we do have, because otherwise they've been left by the wayside for quite a long time.
And in your opinion, we talk about this, there's different organizations of different sizes, different scales, different levels of financial resource, and the way AI can be applied. You could think about some big organizations that have tons of data. They need to figure out how to personalize that to the individual fans to super serve them. But then on the other end, you've got organizations that simply just don't have enough resource and manpower to produce all the things that need to be done. For you, Nick, just when you look at that, the way AI can, I suppose, support either side of that, what is the importance in terms of how different organizations, depending on their scale, can leverage AI?
Well, it's a good question. I think at a macro level, they all can be supported by AI in the same way, just at different levels. And the difference is the bigger companies will inevitably have more resource, and I mean like technical expertise to take it even a step further and get way more valuable use out of AI as an enabler than someone who runs a small media business, as an example. So I think it's just how deep you can go with it. I think the core like tenets of what AI brings to the table are always going to be there, whether it be, again, the content creation, the distribution, the monetization, the performance measurement, analytics, etc., that we are hearing everyone talk about, that coming up with new ways to measure these things. I think the AI agents is a fascinating area that we talked about it briefly the other day, and I've looked into it more since we discussed it. It's going to be a hugely interesting area when we're seeing so much drive for digital transformation across the industry. These things will be adopting and evolving in real time to make sure we're delivering the best experiences. It's quite an exciting place to be. So I think everyone in sports has whether it's a need, has an immense amount of value to still pull from this. It's just the depth. And the quicker you get using AI, the quicker you'll find you're not even scratching the surface of what it can do for you. You just have to be a bit bold and carve out some time to commit to it, which is easier said than done. Something I'm trying to push hard internally to get people to do it. But it's tricky to step away from your day-to-day to go, all right, we're going to go take a different approach to this and see what the outcomes might be. But it's so necessary.
Now, without necessarily giving too much away, we've got an interesting case study of Italian basketball essentially utilizing AI as a way to broadcast games. I mean, I believe the statistic they used is they broadcast over 3,000 games over kind of like a 7-day window across a national tournament. And, you just start talking about the numbers there, like, even a big organization would struggle to produce that much content without the use of some of these tools. So, it's an interesting case study to talk about how that provided accessibility, just the amount of resource to be able to do it, and then monetize off the back of it. But Nick, you had the opportunity to sit down and speak with the CEO of Spiideo, a company who's also based in your current homeland of Sweden, in terms of what they're doing to help enable some of that. That's obviously a massive project, but they can also do things at a smaller scale. Perhaps just give a bit of an insight into Spiideo and what they are doing.
Sure. So I spoke, with the CEO, Patrik Olsson, who has been with the company since basically the beginning. And they're really laser focused on AI automation of sports video, live sports in particular. And I think they've been a great supporter of ours. But I think if you talk to anyone in the industry, you'll hear they are one of the most well respected in this place. They keep adding more depth and more layers to their proposition. And really, what they're helping do is, say, in Italian basketball as the example, is helping democratize the ability to broadcast live matches and reach as many people as possible, and then obviously being able to pull other levers with highlights and other related clips as well. But like superpowering the broadcast production for these live matches, which can be really, really tricky. But they even Patrik gives a great example in the interview I have with him as the scene setter, and in the case study itself, where they talk about how you can just sort of notch up or raise the amount of levels that you want to in terms of how automated you want to be. And that's really, they are in a position where they are helping everyone who is really after high-end broadcast production to people that are okay with just a very base level, maybe grassroots style offering, to basically let them all get to work and broadcast things in a relatively easy fashion. And there's a few other people trying to do it, but I really think Spiideo is leading the way. There's certainly a classic. I don't know how I would describe it. Like Swedes are quite synonymous with like high end innovation and high quality product, and it just feels like that seeps. It's really visible in the way they operate, the product they deliver, and the example they gave on stage at the event, which we're going to hear a bit more about, is a real good example of that.
And the other thing I would just say about them as a business is, we've got our upcoming rebranded Sports Pro Media Awards, previously Sports Pro OTT Awards. It's worth mentioning Spiideo previously has won Best Tech Company, won Best Use of AI. So this isn't something, we're just talking about because, they're friends of ours, but also, the industry recognizes the work that they're doing from the quality of stuff that they're doing. So if you're working in the media space, please go check out the Sports Pro Media Awards. The applications are coming in now. It's a great reason to also come and join us in Madrid. But like I said, I just wanted to add a little bit of extra weight to, this isn't just some tech company. They are someone that has been viewed by our panel of judges from across the globe, and, they're very highly recognized.
Absolutely. And they've been living and breathing AI in sports content and broadcasting pretty much as long as anyone in the industry. They've been around for a long time now. So definitely someone you can rely on to give a pretty good insight into how it all works and they're bringing it to life. They've got real world examples, which is nice to hear and see.
Yeah. So everyone, I hope you've enjoyed Nick and I talking a little bit about sports gambling and trying to figure out all the maths. But it is an AI session focused today. There is a really interesting case study out there, and hope you enjoy the rest of this episode.
Great. So I'm here with Patrik Olsson, who is the CEO of Spiideo. Now, Spiideo has been a company I've been following for quite a while, Patrik. But for those that aren't familiar with the company, what is Spiideo?
So Spiideo is a company that automates everything related to sports and video. So obviously capturing sports and video for automatic production purposes, but also using the video for sports performance and analytics purposes and for officiating purposes. So basically any type of sports experience that you would get from capturing the game or the training for that matter on video.
So let's go a bit further and deeper into this, because this is going to be going out to people who work in the sports media landscape. So, and you talked about a lot of areas that are super interesting to the industry right now in terms of automated production, AI, and streaming. Take it a little bit further. How does Spiideo work?
So essentially what we do is we capture the entire playing surface in really high resolution, sometimes from multiple angles. And from that, we can automate then these different types of experiences. For example, the automatic production solution that automates the process of producing the game for streaming to fans. So you can do this in a fully automatic way, where the cameraman is automated, the graphics is automated, every aspect of the production is automatic. But then you can basically slide the dial towards a fully manual production and still get the same type of output. And then somewhere in the middle, where you have a more AI-assisted production, where some part of the production is automated, for example, the cameramen, so you don't have to have any people manning the cameras. But you can do the graphics and the replays and the camera switching manually. So finding that balance, depending on what type of production you're doing, if you want to do hundreds of games in a really short period of time, maybe you want to fully automate. If you have a few premium games that you want to get semi-automated, then you can do that.
So where did Spiideo all come from? When was the starting point for Spiideo and the journey of that business?
So we started roughly 10 years ago, 2015. We started out in sports performance. So we learned that capturing trainings actually on video was a really cumbersome process. So we learned about all the hassle of hauling big heavy equipment out to the pitch, having a cameraman manning the camera, making sure that they capture the right thing, hauling the whole thing back into the office again, getting the video out of the camera, cutting it up, sending it out to the players and so on. So we realized then that can we automate this process, then we would really create something valuable for the sports community. So that's where we started. And then along the way, we added then the automatic production capabilities that we have now built out tremendously. So it's a really comprehensive platform. And then recently, we also added the officiating, or in the football world, the VAR capabilities. From the same camera, you can basically do all three from one investment.
So really interesting. So it's expanded and expanded over time. Talk me through the starting point. What was the first, do you remember the first partner, coming out of Sweden? I'm guessing the company was originated there, given your background. What was the first type of organization you worked with to prove the concept out?
It started out with a football club in Sweden, and it was the academy. The head of the academy, he purchased Spiideo for the first customer we got. And actually, we sometimes joke about this. It was not that long ago, and basically the only thing you could do with the product was to start the recording, watch it, and stop the recording. So back then, video was all about video. You basically, if you can get video hassle-free, then you would have something valuable. Now, of course, things have moved on. Everyone has access to video, thanks to people like us. But now we have the whole aspect of data that comes into play. So from video and data, you can create really valuable experiences to make sense of the video, to prepare for your games, to do automatic production or whatever it may be.
So pretty comprehensive, particularly if you add in the data layer that you're talking about. What type of organizations are you serving currently for this? Because obviously there are companies from their sports properties from the grassroots level right through to the elite that I understand are using this sort of stuff. So give us some examples of that spectrum.
Yeah. It starts with the clubs and the universities. They are the first type of customer that we started out with. They typically come to Spiideo for sports performance reasons. Then we have the leagues and the federations. They typically come to Spiideo also for sports performance or officiating, but sometimes actually they want to produce games for streaming themselves. So we have several leagues and federations that do that. And then we have the media companies that have acquired the rights, and now they want to produce games at a competitive price point. And especially the media companies is really interesting type of customer, because thanks to automatic production, we have opened up an entirely new business segment in sports, in the mid-tier of sports, where the value of the rights is not as high as it used to be, and you can't really carry the cost of manual production. So automatic production comes into play. You can reduce the cost of production and still make money from your rights. So it has really opened up a business segment that didn't really exist in the past.
And it seems to be an area more and more people are focused on, particularly as the technology makes it more accessible and isn't a huge cost and pressure point. So just talk us through, I guess, how are some of these mid-tier and down organizations, how are they able to, I guess, turn that into revenue and value? Because obviously there is, you've got the top lines of, say, subscription and advertising revenue as an angle in, but how are you able to bring that to life for them?
Yeah, it is that live production that, of course, can be monetized through advertising, sponsors, pay-per-view, subscriptions from fans. That is one track for them. You have the short-form content that comes out of our platform as well. That is, of course, is growing of interest these days. Being able to put that on social media, to use sponsors to create value from that. Then you have the betting streams in some tiers that is a big interest. So to be able to produce betting streams at a cost-effective price point, so that you can sell the betting rights to someone.
And in some instances, that's actually more valuable than the media rights internationally for some of those organizations, right?
Sometimes it is, and of course, not all leagues do this, but several do, And again, coming back to this, one installation enables you to do all these different things. So from that camera installation, you can basically monetize the whole range of different aspects of sports.
So fairly recently, you raised a significant amount of investment, around 20 million, I think was the reported numbers. What are you looking to do? What's to expand and to keep growing the business? Is it just about getting more customers? Are you expanding? I'm guessing you're always investing more into the technology. What are the next steps here?
Yeah, we're a very product-oriented company, so we keep investing in the product. We're expanding the product team to develop the product further. There are so many things to do from that captured video, so we're going down every possible route that we can take. Then of course we've continued to expand our commercial team so that we get good coverage across all the different regions and so on, and really try to build upon the momentum that we have.
So you mentioned before the use of short form or highlights. So what are you doing there? So you're able to automatically creating highlight clips that people can then distribute? And how's that technology actually work?
So from the full length live game that we produce, we capture a number of different data points, and from those data points we can then, through generative AI, generate highlight reels that are directed towards a certain type of usage. So like a long reel, a short reel, a home team reel, an away team reel, and things like that. And then, of course, since we capture the full field, we can also reframe the content. Mm-hmm. So we can actually move the camera based on what clip we're looking at. So there is an enormous amount of product functionality there that we have done, but also that we will be doing in the future.
So is the content then being sent to another platform for distribution, or are they actually able to distribute directly from the platform?
So with Spiideo, typically you distribute and monetize through another platform. So through an OTT or through social media or whatever platform the customer is using.
Awesome. So where do you see, I guess, all the conversations you're having with people within the sports industry, they're all trying to get their head around how to maximize live sports, how to do it more effectively. Are there any real trends you're hearing or seeing from sports when they're coming to you to talk about these things? Are they looking for more and more on the highlight side? Are they looking for further support just on a really automated production service? Is there any specific things that are really standing out to you and your team that they're after?
I would say that, of course, the price pressure on the rights in the mid-tier is really high. Mm-hmm. And what the leagues and the federations in that segment are looking for is basically the same type of functionality that you get in the top tier. So that's a really interesting spot for us to be in, because we can more or less produce the same type of experiences that you do for the very, very top of sports at a very different price point. So what you see in the NFL or the NBA or the Premier League and so on is something that we are already, to some extent, and we will at an increasing pace be able to deliver also to the niche sports and at the top tier and the mid tier of the bigger sports.
And last question that I want to ask you here before we hand over to some of the stuff that happened on stage today at Sports4 Live is around AI. Just have always been, that I can remember, for as long as I've followed the story, have been using AI-based technology into the platform. How are you seeing that evolve? Is it just constantly going to be better and better? Are you looking to have new ways of bringing AI into the platform for the usability for partners? How do you see that changing?
Yeah, it will continue down the track of automation. Automation for producing content. So today, typically, we use AI for the automatic cameraman or the camera operator. But we have something called the auto director that switches between angles in softball and baseball. That's one type of automation. But we'll see more and more of that creative aspect of storytelling in sports that will be automated as well. switching between angles, running replays, deciding when to do that and how to do it. Then we have the whole aspect of generating data from the game. That will, of course, to some extent it's automated today, to some extent it's manual. That journey of automation will continue to offload the cost of it, but also produce more detailed and more deeper data from the games. Again, that will feed into the automation of the storytelling and the analysis of what's going on in the game. So, I mean, AI will power sports a lot in the future, I would say, both on the analysis side and on the automatic production side.
Now, for those that are watching at home or on their devices, or perhaps listening in onto the podcast, you might be hearing a lot of sounds going on in the background and potentially some things going on behind us. So we're at Sports Pro Live in London at the moment, right at the end of April here, and you've just been on stage presenting some of the work you've been doing. Can you just talk us through what that session was all about?
Yeah, we've done some automatic productions together with the basketball league in Italy. And this was an example of a league that has a fairly premium set of games that they want to automatically produce, reduce the cost, but keep the quality high. So they opted for this balance of doing an AI-assisted production, where the 5-angle production that we did with cameras on the long side, in the ceiling, and behind the hoops, 5 angles, was without any cameraman, but with manual production of replays, camera switching, and graphics. And doing that remotely, so that reduces the cost of the production significantly, but still keeping that level of quality really, really high. And they had, during the tournament that we did, I think it was about 60 games, had 14 million viewers. So it was fairly high-profile games that we produced.
And it's a really great example of what you're doing at Spiideo, but indeed what is possible for those sports properties that are in that mid-tier and below that you've talked about. So, look, I think it's probably a good spot to hand over to Josh, who's leading that panel session on stage at Sports Pro Live, and take a listen and see what you learn from there. Thanks, everyone.
This is a very unique partnership. We have Infront, an agency and production firm. We have Lega Basket A, the top Italian basketball league, and Spiideo, a tech provider that specializes in streaming and AI. So I guess I want to start at the beginning of the partnership and start with you, Andrea. Can you tell us more about Lega Basket A and sort of what were the challenges that you sort of encountered and wanted to find a solution to?
Yes, thank you, and hello, everybody. So Lega Basket Serie A, LBA, is the organization that manages the top professional basketball league in Italy under the delegation of the Italian Basketball Federation. And the league was founded in 1970, it's based in Bologna, which is the basketball city in Italy, and we organized the Serie A Championship, the Supercoppa, and the Final 8 of Coppa Italia, which is our mid-season tournament. So in terms of TV production, every year we produce 300 matches for TV, which are broadcast in Italy by the DAZN platform and the Warner Bros. Discovery linear channels. And moreover, we have international distribution with 14 partners across the globe, providing a global audience. So let me say, we are very proud of the TV product we deliver. The quality of the product, we keep on innovating especially in the Final 8 of Coppa Italia event. We introduced the augmented reality, we introduced the referee cam point of view. So that's the kind of the idea of what we are, the image that what is the league that we want to deliver. So coming to today's topic, the point is that beside these professional events, since 2018, we organize also the youth tournament for the 16 clubs of the of the league. This tournament is involving all the best prospects of the Italian basketball, which we know at the moment they are potentially NCAA prospects as well. And the interest around this youth tournament have been growing year after year. We now deliver 14 million views on social media coming from the content related to this event. So given the growing visibility and importance of this youth tournament, the challenge for us was to elevate the streaming product at a similar level in terms of quality and of the main events. The strategy is to have the streaming as visible as possible, so we stream all the matches for free through our own digital properties to youth basketball specialized pages on YouTube and Twitch, and with DAZN, with our partners of DAZN as well. So we wanted to, facing this 24-25 season, we wanted to move this step forward. But of course, we had to, let's say, manage the budget for this and the very specific logistics for this event, which is 8 matches per days during the first phases. So the idea was to look for an AI-based technology. We run this, let's say, scouting at the end together with Infront. We landed to Spiideo, and we started the project together.
Absolutely, and I guess, Patrik, coming from your perspective, it appears that you were sort of successfully chosen to be Lega Basket A's partner. Can you talk to me about sort of what Spiideo offers rights holders and why, in this instance, your platform and technology was the right fit to help sort of elevate the streaming product as Lega Basket A was hoping for?
Yes, absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. So LBA is really a great example of use of automatic production. And if we just go back a few years, automatic production was very much about just providing an automatic cameraman. And during the last few years, we at Spiideo, we worked hard at enhancing that experience to be a fully end-to-end automatic production solution. And essentially, we're aiming at TV-class productions. And to be able to do that, you, of course, need really high-quality video. You need fully fledged graphics. You need multi-angle. You need replays. You need the possibility to add sponsors and advertisers to the content and so on. And what we've done is that we have created a platform that allows you to kind of dial the slider between fully manual productions and with the same platform slide it all the way to fully automatic. And we have customers that run hundreds and hundreds of games over a weekend, fully automatic, with just 2 persons managing the whole operation. But then you can also slide the dialer somewhere in the middle, which is exactly which is what we did with the LBA. So AI-assisted production, where the cameramen are automated. The graphics, the replays, the multi-angle operations, and the commentator are manual. And we had in this setup a mix of people on-site and people off-site to be able to do this. And it really brings down the cost of production to a price point that simply hasn't been able to be reached before, given the quality of production that we're able to produce.
Yes, and I once I guess you two sort of entered the partnership, I imagine for Andrea, from your perspective, that's part of the solution, I guess, is to have the platform, to have Spiideo on board. But then there's also the challenge of, being able to set up as many cameras and as many, elevate the production to cover as much action and all the dunks and shots from every single game in the league. I imagine it's with so many games that you guys have going on, that poses some challenges. Can you talk to me about how you guys overcame those logistical and production challenges in terms of gathering that content?
Yes, for sure. We are, let's say, a league, a right owner, and we are a smart organization, but we are a small organization. So approaching these with a brand new technology as Spiideo and all the challenges that a large amount of matches per day in different locations needs to be addressed. We were perfectly conscious of the challenges, and we decided to not approach these alone, but involve the production team of Infront, which is a trust and long-term partner of the league. So we, as the league, we were able to be focused on the organization of the event, on the sport production, on the communication, on the maximization of the viewerships for the streaming feeds, while the guys at Infront took care of all the production challenges we were facing. What we did together, the three of us, was to set a roadmap, a plan for having match by match and phase by phase of the tournament, continuous improvements in terms of what we were able to deliver. And the goal was clear, was to, let's say, test this technology, the Spiideo technology, and to see how this can be able to deliver a broadcast-like product. At the end, honestly, the result was really impressive, because at the final phase of the tournament, we were able to produce with 5 cameras fully AI automated, and we also were able to include both pre-recorded and live interviews, which is something that we didn't expect to be able to do. So that was really, I mean, I can say it exceeded my expectation in terms of what we have been able to do.
Excellent. I'm aware that we've gone half of this session. We haven't heard from Alessandro yet, so welcome. Obviously, this partnership is a trio, and you guys are the missing link, the glue, if you may. Andrea mentioned that Infront and Lega Basket A have been partners for a long time. So do you mind sort of talking about that partnership and I guess your role in sort of helping them to scale up their production and to deliver a very quality broadcast product?
As Infront Productions, we are the technical live production and content production part of Infront Sports and Media. Actually, yes, we have a long-term partnership with Lega Basket. Basically, we manage the Lega Basketball Media House in Milano. In our production center in Milano, we're in charge of all the content production for Lega Basket, so highlights and all the content based on the feed of the events. In this project, we work on a lot of live productions project. We manage 400, 500 live productions every year, from the FIS World Cup to CV volleyball competition, the Eurovolley, for example, handball, hockey, both for national teams and for club competition. Speaking with the clients, the need of a solution that can bridge the gap between an automated production and the quality and the standard, not only technical but also editorial, and that is something that I would love to stress, because the editorial part is also important. The storytelling we're used to when we work with production is also important, not only the technical feed that we can receive in HD to our computer at home. So basically, we understood from the market that a budget-wise solution that was able to also be sustainable was something that was needed, and that is why we started discussion with Spiideo. And at the same time, we had the discussion with Andrea that called me one day and asked me, "Listen, but we have to produce the next gen. What about testing an AI-based solution?" And I said, "Yes, we are speaking with Spiideo." And he said, "Yes, we have also Spiideo in mind." And that was an easy call, let me say. And basically, our role was to understand the capabilities of the technology, understand the needs of Lega Basket, and everything in play, and have everything in place, managing the complexity on the technical side. You mentioned the logistics. We had 2 arenas with 8 games in each arena each day, with different setup because each arena is different. So different camera plans, different capabilities in terms of connectivity. That is also something that you have to consider when we work with AI or cloud solutions. And together with Lega Basket and Spiideo, we were able to manage in a proper way all those complexity. And our role is exactly to help our clients to, let me say, don't feel the complexity of the production and the problems that can be there when you are live in an event, but simply manage things in order to have everything running smoothly.
I guess this is a question for all of you. We'll start maybe with Patrik and work our way down the line. I guess in sort of the day-to-day, in terms of when sort of the weekend, when Serie Basket's games are taking place, can you describe sort of the role and from your end what work is done to sort of so have those broadcasts up and running, and sort of what, I guess, when that event is over, what do you then take away to then take into the next weekend?
Yeah, so just like I spoke about the platform being able to scale from fully automatic to fully manual, the operations of it has to have the same flexibility. So if you're running hundreds and hundreds of games in a very short amount of time, you're looking for a very low price point, obviously the operations needs to be automated as well. While in this case, we had fairly premium games with 14 million views. So obviously then we need to staff the back office of our platform in the proper way. So that's something we have worked quite a lot of, finding that solution that fits the customer's need depending on what type of game we're looking at. So in this case, we have our premium support set up. We have people monitoring the productions live on our back end, being able to answer directly in a direct communication questions that come from in front in this case. So providing that flexibility is really necessary in a setup like this.
Excellent. Andrea, what is it like from your end? And I guess when it comes to the weekend, what does it look like for you?
Well, I have to say, everything worked very, very well. We were in touch in the very early stage with calls for setting up all the different needs and to try to anticipate possible issues. Then we met all of us together in Varese for the starting of the event, and after that everything just clicked and worked well. As we said, what we really did was to try to push as far as we could in the direction of a broadcast-like production. When you think at AI-based automated production, you start thinking at a main camera following the players on the court. What we did was to try day after day to find new angles, more angles for supporting the editorial storytelling of the match. Try, correct, adjust, all this kind of process day after day. As I said, at the end, we did the last phase, the final 8 phase with 5 camera, which is, let's say, honestly, a broadcast like production with no human camera operator on the field. That was really exciting.
Excellent. And Alessandro, do you want to talk about what Infront and your teams do to sort of bring the games to life?
Yeah, actually, I don't think that we produced 2 games in 2 days in a row with the same setup. My teams, actually have to say thank you to the team that managed this production. They were daily managing the technical part, both in Milano and on site, and the editorial part, so managing all the production aspects and so on. And during each game, they were thinking, okay, maybe we can move this camera from this 90 degrees position to this 45. Let's move this camera on the ring. So every day they were moving stuff around. And I think that only with the 5 camera setup on the last day of events, we reached a level of production where we were happy about the editorial result. Because again, as you mentioned, Andrea, it's easy to have one camera following the action, but allowing the user at home to see something that is close to the storytelling of a normal standard broadcast feed is something that we are trying to push a lot. And in my opinion, is the direction that we have to follow together with you, Andrea, and Lega Basket and Spiideo.
Excellent. Well, we have plenty of questions that have come through. We'll start with what's clearly the most popular one, talking about AI and how it's being used to enhance storytelling and production. I guess maybe Andrea, if you want to take that first, and then Patrik, I guess, from the technical side of how AI can help with that.
I will not say enhance storytelling versus traditional production, broadcast production. I will say that the AI supported production will bring us something different, no? Because with the traditional production in basketball, the camera plan is quite similar in all the main events around the world, and we are very used. The people watching basketball are very used to see the same storytelling in terms of the match, of the action on the field. With AI supported camera, we try to maybe in the future, this is my view, what we can do is to try to change this a little bit and to have new audiences. That's why we started from a youth tournament, which is played but also watched by a younger audience, to get used to a little different storytelling of the basketball match.
Excellent. I'm sure, Patrik, you can also speak to sort of how AI is used in these contexts as well.
Yeah, I mean, as we spoke about before, in this case, we do like an AI-assisted production. So a lot of the storytelling is actually done by human beings managing the production, offloading the team with automatic cameramen and being able to do remote productions and so on. We will definitely see more and more that being able to be automated down the road as we move forward in this automation journey. At Spiideo, in the platform, we have something called the storyboard. The storyboard is something, it's a technology that allows you to script the rundown of the game with a pre-game experience, an in-game experience, an intermission experience, and a post-game experience. So it allows you to do high volumes of games with consistent storytelling. So it's a way of automating the storytelling. But as of now, of course, that human touch to it and dialing into the AI-assisted productions is a really good way of doing it.
Excellent. And Alessandro, did you want to add something?
Yeah, just quickly, probably AI will help with the volume of content because we will be able to produce more content, more events, and more matches, actually. So maybe it's not helping a lot on the storytelling part, as for now, because luckily there is still room for work for human people. But the direction is to increase the volume of content that we will be able to produce.
Excellent. I see that question about future plans, and maybe we'll end it with this one. I kind of want to expand it to sort of the future of this partnership, because it's again, it's not often you have these three sort of different organizations coming together. So maybe a little bit from everyone, maybe starting from Alessandro, and we'll work our way down this way. What would you like to see? What would you like envision for the future of this partnership?
Yeah, for sure. Probably we have two directions. So try to find other competition that we can produce together with Spiideo and Lega Basket on one hand, and on the other side, increase the kind of solution that we have in mind. So basically, being able to integrate a manned camera in order to follow with close-up the action and bridge always more the gap between a standard production and an automated production is something that we have in mind, and we are working together with the partners.
Excellent. Andrea, what would you like to see going forward from this partnership?
Yeah, for sure. This is the point. Of course, the intention is to replicate this for the next season of the LBA Next Generation Cup, and approaching the next season to introduce further elements for further improving the quality of what we deliver with the streaming. So Alessandro mentioned one, which is the possibility to have an hybrid setup with one only cameraman for the close-up shoot, but it can be also about statistics and other element which can be part of the automated product and make it even better.
Excellent. And Patrik, I imagine Spiideo sort of hard at work at trying to look at new technologies and offering more solutions for people like Lega Basket A. What would you like to see going forward from Spiideo's perspective?
No, I think everything that was just said, definitely concur to that. One thing that's maybe worth mentioning as well is that once you get that capability into the venues, you have the automatic production capabilities. In this case, with 5 different angles behind the hoops, in the ceilings, and so on, almost impossible angles. Then you also have the capability of adding sports performance and analytic solutions and officiating solutions to the league. So from that investment that you do in the venues, you can create an enormous amount of value for the teams and the leagues to benefit from.
Excellent. Well, I think that wraps it up for us. So thank you so much to Alessandro, Andrea, and Patrik for joining me and for a really interesting conversation. And thank you to everyone in the audience for giving us your full attention. And I can't wait to see what's next. So thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Now, before you go, if you liked what you heard today, be sure to rate and review and just let me know what you think on social. You can find me on most social platforms as SportsProNick. And please do spread the word of the podcast. There's no better way of marketing than word of mouth, whether that be in person or on social media. And if you don't like what you've heard, or you think we should be doing more or less of something, then reach out and let me know, as I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, Streamtimers. Until next time.